On September 18th, AD 79, the city of Pompeii thrives under the shadow of Mount Vesuvius. The day seems peaceful, but danger lurks nearby. In his villa, Pliny writes urgently to Tacitus of unusual smoke rising from Vesuvius, a sign that something ominous is unfolding. As night falls over Pompeii, Vesuvius roars to life with a deadly eruption, casting dark shadows across the cityscape.
Residents gather in small groups, fearing what the mountain might bring.
Pliny observes ominous smoke rising ominously over Vesuvius. As the full scale of Vesuvius' wrath becomes clear, panic grips the city's inhabitants.
Pliny the Younger documents the first signs of Mount Vesuvius's unrest.
The Pompeii arena lies silent as Mount Vesuvius begins to erupt. As Pliny observes, the situation at Mount Vesuvius intensifies dramatically. Ash falls in Pompeii. Pliny writes urgently about the ominous signs from Mount Vesuvius. Pompeii's amphitheater lies deserted as residents flee the city.
From his vantage point, Pliny watches in horror as Vesuvius engulfs Pompeii.
Pliny records the events as Vesuvius rumbles in the background. The city's fate hangs by a thread. Citizens flee the arena, terrified by the sudden downpour of ash and rocks. The city is in uproar.
The sky darkens as Pliny watches the ash cloud consume Pompeii. Every moment is a race against time. As Pliny writes letters describing the eruption's horrors, dark ash clouds gather overhead.
Amidst growing chaos, Pompeii's once thriving arena now sits eerily quiet under a thickening layer of ash. As night falls and ash continues to rain down, Pliny's face reflects a blend of dread and resolve. On September 18th, AD 79, the streets of Pompeii are busy as usual. Little do they know, disaster is imminent. Mount Vesuvius belches smoke into the sky, a warning sign ignored by most of Pompeii's citizens.
A hush falls over Pompeii as citizens pause to stare up at Vesuvius, their eyes wide with fear and confusion.
As the crowds cheer for battle, smoke from Vesuvius signals the beginning of Pompeii's end. The gladiators pause mid-battle, realizing something far more dangerous than any opponent is at hand. With an apocalyptic roar, Vesuvius erupts, sending a shower of ash into Pompeii's heart. The skies darken as Pliny records signs of impending disaster. An eerie calm settles on the amphitheater as Vesuvius threatens to unleash its fury.
Pliny watches in horror as the mountain belches forth its deadly cargo.
Panic spreads as ash from Vesuvius starts falling over Pompeii. People rush for safety in every direction. Families seek shelter together amidst chaos. Ash falls heavier now, blotting out the sky. Darkness engulfs Pompeii as ash thickens. Fear grips everyone's heart. Pliny watches in horror as Vesuvius belches forth a massive plume of ash and smoke.
The amphitheater lies silent as night falls over Pompeii, a prelude to destruction.
With a heart full of dread, Pliny decides he cannot abandon those in need and sets out into the night towards Pompeii. Pompeii begins to awaken to the terrifying reality unfolding above them. People seek refuge in Pompeii's amphitheater as Vesuvius spews forth its wrath. The moment of truth arrives as Vesuvius unleashes its fury upon Pompeii. Pliny races against time to document the cataclysmic events before him. Panic grips Pompeii as darkness falls, and the air grows heavy with ash and fear. Pliny fights against the overwhelming odds to save as many lives as he can. Pliny the Younger records the first tremors and strange cloud formations from Mount Vesuvius. Smoke and ash from Vesuvius looms over the empty amphitheater of Pompeii.
Terrified citizens flee as Pliny watches the dark cloud descend upon Pompeii.
The arena falls quiet as the first tremors of impending doom are felt across the city.
Pliny watches in awe as the mountain begins to spew ash and pumice into the sky.
Citizens flee the amphitheater, their faces covered with cloths as ash falls like dark snow.
Pliny pens frantic letters to friends, warning of impending doom.
The once bustling amphitheater now lies silent and shrouded in deathly silence. With each passing moment, Pliny's resolve hardens against an unstoppable force of nature. The day starts bright, but turns ominous as ash clouds block out the sun over Pompeii's amphitheater. Pliny the Younger frantically records observations, his eyes wide with fear as the eruption intensifies.
Panic sets in, the crowd evacuates, abandoning the amphitheater's trapped gladiators.
Pliny's notes capture the first signs of disaster. The sky darkens and the ash falls.
A haunting silence falls over the amphitheater. The first ominous signs appear in the arena.
As night falls, Pliny watches in horror as darkness engulfs the city. The end is near. Dark clouds of ash from Vesuvius threaten to shroud the bright sun. Pompeii remains oblivious to its looming fate. Amidst festival revelry at the amphitheater, ominous silence sets in. Ash begins its descent, signaling catastrophe.
In hurried strokes, Pliny documents Vesuvius' fury. Shadows deepen as nightfall approaches too quickly.
Pliny notes the first signs of danger in his letters, ash falling like snow. The once lively arena falls into silence as residents realize the danger approaching. Pliny organizes a relief mission despite the growing danger. Mount Vesuvius erupts in a cataclysmic display of fury. Pliny watches helplessly as the city is consumed by darkness.
Pompeii's amphitheater, once teeming with life, now sits in silent terror as ash engulfs everything it touches.
Pliny furiously documents the devastation, his writings chronicling the last hours before Pompeii's final breath.
Pliny writes frantically as the ash cloud grows ominous over Pompeii.
The arena falls silent as the citizens flee the city. Pliny braces himself for the impending doom looming over Pompeii. The skies darken as Pliny's ships struggle to navigate through the thick clouds of ash and debris. Pompeii's streets are emptying out as people desperately try to escape the encroaching darkness and toxic air.
Ash falls heavily over Pompeii, turning day into night as the city braces for the worst.
The sky darkens as Pliny the Younger watches the deadly cloud engulfing Pompeii.
Pompeii's amphitheater falls silent as volcanic ash begins to blanket the city.
Pliny pens an account of the horror unfolding in Pompeii, warning of the cataclysmic eruption.
Pliny writes urgently about the dark plume that threatens to consume everything.
Hundreds gather in silence as ash begins to fall from the sky, a sign of impending doom. The night grows darker as Pliny records the catastrophe unfolding around him. Ash from Vesuvius starts falling into Pompeii's streets and the amphitheater.
Pliny the Younger documents the disaster from inside his villa, unaware of its severity.
The panic escalates as citizens attempt to flee the arena, but are met with blocked exits and falling ash.
Pliny writes a final letter to Tacitus, describing the ominous signs of the eruption.
Residents gather in the amphitheater seeking safety from falling debris and ash clouds. Suddenly, piles of volcanic ash begin to fall onto the amphitheater, causing chaos and fear among the crowd.
Pliny documents the ominous signs leading to Pompeii's final days.
Pompeii's amphitheater stands abandoned as the city faces its darkest hour. Pliny attempts a daring rescue mission amidst the chaos and destruction. Pliny's urgent letters paint a picture of chaos and fear as the city faces its final moments.
Pompeii's amphitheater, a symbol of life and entertainment, now silent in the shadow of impending doom.
As darkness falls, Pliny realizes the city's fate is sealed by the looming shadow of Vesuvius. The sky darkens as Pliny watches the ominous signs of Vesuvius' impending fury.
Ash falls silently onto the deserted arena as Vesuvius erupts in the distance.
In his final moments, Pliny records the cataclysmic eruption of Vesuvius in vivid detail. The sky darkens over Pompeii. Pliny records the ominous signs. Pliny documents a volcano's fury. Each eruption is another ominous chapter.
Pliny writes to his friend Tacitus about the ominous signs of an impending eruption.
Pompeii's once bustling arena is now silent, choked by the eruption. The first waves of pyroclastic flow hit Pompeii, turning day into night in an instant. Pliny the Younger struggles to escape the city as the eruption intensifies.
Pompeii's amphitheater lies desolate, a testament to the devastating power of the eruption.
Reaching an open area, Pliny witnesses the catastrophic aftermath of Mount Vesuvius's eruption.
Witnessing the ominous ash cloud, Pliny writes furiously in his journal, documenting the catastrophe unfolding before him.
The amphitheater falls silent as darkness engulfs Pompeii, signaling the end for those who remain.
The weight of history bears down as Pliny's last moments are marked by a suffocating silence and darkness.
Pliny writes frantically about the catastrophic eruption, blanketing the city in darkness.
The amphitheater falls silent as the city succumbs to Vesuvius' wrath.
From afar, Pliny witnesses the final moments of Pompeii's destruction.
The amphitheater is now a tombstone etched by Vesuvius' fury.
Pliny's letters will be the only record of this day's catastrophe. The city breathes its final breath under Vesuvius' shadow. As Pliny watches in horror, Vesuvius erupts with unprecedented fury. Pyroclastic surges engulf the amphitheater, trapping everyone inside.
Describing the catastrophe, Pliny struggles to capture the sheer magnitude of destruction.
Pliny writes furiously, documenting the destruction around him. Panic grips Pompeii as people flee for their lives.
Pliny witnesses the final moments of Pompeii's life.
Pliny the Younger records the final moments before Vesuvius erupts in terror and despair.
Pompeii's amphitheater stands as an eerie testament to the city's last moments before being engulfed by ash and pumice.
A deadly surge from Vesuvius engulfs Pompeii's amphitheater in darkness and destruction. The skies darken as Vesuvius spews forth its final deadly breath. Panic grips the city as the last residents flee for their lives.
Pompeii falls silent as Vesuvius finally silences its voice forever.
The eruption engulfs Pompeii, casting a shadow over its once lively arena. Pliny writes feverishly, documenting the catastrophe for future generations.
Desperation reigns as the Pompeians try to escape the inferno. In his final moments, Pliny writes of the catastrophe that engulfs Pompeii.
Silence falls upon Pompeii as life ceases in its streets.
The final light before darkness engulfs Pompeii forever.
Pompeii's amphitheater, a heart of Roman life, now lies shrouded in darkness and destruction. Pliny the Younger witnesses the cataclysmic eruption from afar, unable to intervene as history unfolds.
Above Pompeii, the sky turns an ominous red as Vesuvius continues its relentless assault. Pompeii falls silent as the sky turns to night.
A silent graveyard under the shadow of Vesuvius. A flicker of hope in the darkest hour.
Pliny faces a moment of truth, flee to safety or stay to document the eruption's aftermath.
As night falls, the Pompeii arena lies in ruins, silenced by the volcano's fury. A new blast from Vesuvius engulfs the city in fire and ash once again.
The amphitheater lies silent, buried under centuries of ash and ruin. Historical accounts like Pliny's letters are all that remain from this tragic day. Survivors walk away from the ruins, carrying tales that will shape history for millennia to come. The amphitheater that witnessed countless gladiatorial battles is a ghostly monument to Pompeii's tragic end. Pliny the Younger's words describe not just the eruption, but the loss felt by all who knew Pompeii. Vesuvius stands as a silent sentinel of the past, its shadow cast over the ruins of Pompeii forevermore. The once bustling amphitheater is now silent and covered in ash. Life here has ended abruptly.
Letters from Pliny describe the destruction in harrowing detail, preserving Pompeii's last moments for history.
Only remnants of Pompeii's past remain, a silent tribute to its fallen inhabitants. Pompeii's amphitheater, a symbol of Roman power, lies buried under tons of volcanic debris.
Letters from Pliny the Younger provide us with vivid accounts of Pompeii's final hours. Modern archaeology reveals stunningly preserved artifacts and artworks from Pompeii's past.
Pompeii lies silent, its people buried beneath a thick shroud of ash. Witnessing the aftermath of Vesuvius' wrath, Pliny records the final moments with somber dedication. The message remains, a stark reminder of Pompeii's tragic end. The amphitheater of Pompeii lies in silence, buried under a blanket of ash. Pliny the Younger records the devastation, his words a chilling testament to that fateful day. As night falls, the moon casts an ethereal glow upon the city's forgotten ruins. Pliny pens his eyewitness account of the cataclysm that befell Pompeii on September 18th, 79 AD.
Silent and desolate, the amphitheater stands as a monument to the lives lost during the eruption.
As day breaks, a lone figure traverses the remnants of Pompeii's amphitheater, marking the beginning of a new chapter in history.